Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Gambling with the future, Philippines, China related today. I am not at all a fan of gambling, and I'm very disappointed to see the words gambling and Philippines ever linked together. What a shame. There are people in the Philippines who are addicted to gambling, believe it or not. I wouldn't have thought so, but where there is poverty, there is a desire for a quick fix. It happens everywhere, which usually solves absolutely nothing, as people just blow money they earn and are worse off than at the start. I'm going to link an article for you about gambling in the Philippines, and I will read some of it, but not all of it. I think you'll find it very interesting. It came from the LA Times. It's from 2019. And it's called China Has a New Casino, the Philippines. One of the things I have stressed hard with my wife is that I do not want her involved with gambling of any kind. I don't care if it is those stupid scratcher tickets or whatever it is. I just don't want to see it. If you have seen my videos, you are aware that I do not believe in controlling your wife. But as the head of this household, there will be no involvement with gambling of any kind. When I say I do not approve of any of the many ways to gamble, I am putting my foot down on something that I believe is of no value and can be ruinous to a person, and therefore ruinous to the relationship. That's why I feel so strongly about that. And there are right and wrong ways to go about earning wealth. I want to hear your comments about this, about anything involved with what I'll be talking about. And I don't intend to impede doing something that is good for my wife, but I don't see gambling as being for her good. Hence, I don't want it here. Now, there's, like I said, right and wrong ways. You can steal, but that's wrong. You can loot, but that's also wrong. And I think gambling is also a wrong way to earn income or wealth. Instead of just denigrating gambling, what I do here is emphasize the real ways to earn income, to make wealth. I don't gamble. I never have gambled to earn my retirement, and I don't want my wife involved with it at all. I have always opposed gambling when it came time to vote. What I want her to know about earning wealth is that it comes from these 5 ways that I can think of. One is work, employment. And that's how most of us do it. We go to work and we do it for a long time, 40 to 45 years or so. And, that's what I did. Nothing came easy. I worked as much overtime as I could possibly get. Holidays, weekends when I was on vacation, and I did a lot of work, a lot of overtime. I liked that. And my wife has been working here. She works probably 48, and then sometimes 40 hours a week. It just depends on the week. And so she's working full time. So she's doing the right thing. And also, of course, when you work, you have the opportunity to save. You don't want to be wasteful with your money and gamble it away. You want to save it. And you want to have more at the end of the pay period than you did before, if possible, and when paying all of your bills. And you want to be responsible, of course, to pay everything off right away. But savings is very important. And another way is investments. I have my own 401k and pension. My wife has her own 401k. Many companies these days don't even offer pensions, so that's primarily a thing of the past. But she does have her own investments, and we've met with my financial advisor to make sure that she has the best option or make the best use of the options that she has. She's a little bit more limited in that she's still working, but we want to take what she has and have a sound plan. You can gamble with your investments too, which you don't want to do. Now it's a little bit different, but I'm talking about extremely unnecessary high risk. I know a guy that was about to retire. He was working 84 hours a week. So he was in his 60s, working 84 hours a week and investing heavily in tech stocks. And then he told me one day he lost $250,000 because he went all in, all or nothing with tech stocks. And that was a bad decision that he gambled with and lost. But investing is good. And part of investing is diversifying, and my wife is diversifying. And you were both in different situations, and so you're an older guy married to a younger woman. You may invest totally differently based on your ages, because that does have something to do with it, but we won't get into that. But you want to work, you want to save, you want to invest, you want to diversify so you don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's a good way to earn wealth. That's the opposite of gambling. You're making it more likely that you're not going to lose a lot of money. And make sure you're a financial advisor, which I tend to agree with getting a financial advisor, not trying to do these things on your own. Get a financial advisor and let them consider the track record, the history, and they keep an eye on the stock market and what's going on in the world every day. So that's a good part of your investing, is have a good financial advisor. Cryptocurrency, while that comes to mind, it's not allowed in this country, America, to be part of your retirement portfolio, not at this time. And when it becomes available, like it looks like it will, then we will have to consider whether to do anything with that, and if so, how much. And those are all the decisions to be made under the watch of a qualified financial advisor. You can also inherit money. That's a fair way to earn wealth, is to inherit money. And then, of course, you can receive gifts. Gifts is another way to earn money, but I do not think it is from gambling. So I wanted to say that. Now, I'll try to run through some things here about gambling in the Philippines. My wife is from the Philippines, and we have a home there. And I hate to see people who are already poor gambling, because I think usually the people that gamble are the ones that need to hold on to their money, like often senior citizens here in America. But a lot of people have been hurt by that. So from this article from the LA Times, there's some points from it. They say, operating safely out of reach of Chinese authorities, the lottery website that they talk about in the article and its agents are based hundreds of miles away in the Philippines. The Southeast Asian nation is being transformed by a massive surge in online gambling companies catering to players in China, where rising incomes have given more people the means to wager. The demand is expected to drive gambling revenue in the Philippines to $4.1 billion this year. This article is from 2019. Now, $4.1 billion, up from just over $1 billion 3 years earlier, 2016, according to the government. Those figures also included traditional casinos, which have gotten their own boost from rising tourism from China. Still, the revenue generated online pays salaries, rent, government bribes, and other costs in the Philippines, and has given the economy a significant boost. The annual licensing fees, $140 million last year, more than 11 times the 2016 total, are now the third largest source of government revenue behind taxes and customs. I just picked these things out of the article, so they're not necessarily in perfect flow. The boom is most apparent here in the capital, that's Manila, where gambling companies and their employees have driven commercial and residential rents to record highs. If you wondered why things cost so much there, by some estimates, at least 100,000 people from mainland China have moved to Manila for jobs as gambling company marketing agents, tech support specialists, and engineers, all to serve the Mandarin-speaking clientele. This is a quote somebody makes. Everybody's after the Chinese customer because they're the biggest market and they're the biggest gamblers, said Rosalind Wade, the Manila-based managing director of Asia Gaming Brief, a research and consulting firm. President Rodrigo Duterte of the Philippines, who once railed against the industry as a vector for crime, recently called for its expansion. That gambling, Duterte told supporters at a recent rally, I cannot control it. The gleaming gambling houses and hotels here have helped turn the Philippines into Asia's third most lucrative gambling destination, just behind Singapore, very far behind world-leading Macau. I'm not even familiar with that place. Chinese high rollers once would have scorned the idea of gambling in the Philippines. Then, in 2016, Duterte announced his separation from the U.S. and realignment with China. Over the next 2 years, according to the Philippine Tourism Department, the annual number of Chinese tourists nearly doubled to 1.2 million. That its welcome in the Philippines underscores the lengths the country will go to court Chinese money. The online boom was set in motion when Duterte signed Executive Order Number 13 in 2016, stripping two small regional economic agencies of the authority to issue offshore gambling licenses and handing it to the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, which is both a national regulator and a gambling operator. Almost overnight, investors in the Philippines and elsewhere in Southeast Asia seized the new opportunity to reach Chinese gamblers. Property owners have naturally been more welcoming. Real estate prices around Manila have soared 40% since offshore gambling took off in 2016. Some gambling operators scrambling to find office space and apartments for their workers are providing a year's worth of rent in advance, according to someone who heads a Manila-based real estate firm. The Chinese presidency said is helping beckon investors from China and parts of Southeast Asia. We can call it a Chinese invasion, he said, but it's more than that. It's the Philippines opening up to the world. Both the Philippines and China have overlooked their own laws to allow the industry to thrive. The law stipulates that the sites are not allowed to target any country where gambling is banned, like China. Kickbacks are also common. One former security consultant for a gambling operator in Manila said the company paid $500,000 to $1 million a month in bribes. Legislators, law enforcement, immigration officials, they all came asking for handouts because they knew the money was coming from China, said the consultant who spoke anonymously because of a confidentiality agreement. For its part, Beijing has done little to pressure the Philippines to stop targeting China, nor has it moved to break up the black market banking system the industry relies on. I think gambling is a bad idea, and there are better ways to build your financial net worth. When looking for a wife overseas, it would be a good idea to get her views on gambling before committing to your love beyond the sea.